think
Yeah,
it was discussed.
I didn't see any personally. You guys see him drop any? I only saw him drop like maybe AT guns the whole game.
I've only seen him drop maybe one or two at most. One of them I know got destroyed. The other one, he was able to micro well and did get captured by the Panzer Grenadiers until they took it back.
Yeah, I saw them try to support from the right-hand side, but they just got quickly overwhelmed and killed by German units. And not only that, Hummel was providing fire support against the AT guns, and I think it's to the Allies' detriment. To that strategy of crawling AT guns was that Hummel. That Hummel would just be pounding them whenever they'd set up an AT gun. At least
couldn't they do the same with the 25?
Yeah. What was funny is they never counter battered. You know, they didn't counter it with a counter battery. You know, from the 25 pounder, they never fired back at it. They just kind of let it go.
Well,
and that was another crucial mistake, is letting that Hummel, you know, have free reign.
I wouldn't say completely that he was counter battering. Maybe I think it was because he just used his 25 pounder against other more threatening targets such as the columns of tanks and infantry. And then I think Seph used that cooldown as a window of opportunity to fire the Hummel without having to worry about counter battering.
Yeah, but it's like when you look at his spot, he didn't really move the Hummel that much after firing rounds. They could have put that Hummel out of action again if they wanted to.
I mean, I kind of agree with you. They had strafing rounds, bombing rounds, and commando arty to fight blobs. I think they should deal with the Hummel instead of blobs.
Well, it's just the major thing was I think the major problem for the Allies was dealing with the heavy German armor and dealing with all the martyrs and dealing with the anti-infantry troops. It's just they just got outplayed. The Axis just had a better synergy going between each other than the Allies did, and that's quite unfortunate. So that's pretty much it, folks. I think that's all we can say about this one.
I was gonna ask you one quick question, Hellfox.
What?
Have you seen the strategy used by Axis players before? Because I've noticed the same thing in a couple other games
I didn't quite catch what you mean. Like this same sort of strategy, Scorched Earth and Terror.
It'll be back and forth, and then towards the end, the Axis would come out with a lot of armor, just make a massive wall of it.
Well, yeah. Well, because when you look at the Axis team by design, they are designed to be powerful in late game. Whereas the Allies are supposed to have a good advantage early on, but they start losing that advantage the further the game drags on. That's kind of how the game was designed, at least I think.
Well, that's how the Wehrmacht was designed. It was designed to be a little weak early game, but very, very powerful late game. I think it's a little different with the Panzer Elite. They're more like the Americans, where they are powerful early game by spamming so many Panzer Grenadiers groups with Gewehr 43s. That's where you see that strategy of just about every 1v1.
Well, yeah, but it's like now that we have the combinations of the two together, if both players cannot synergize, correctly, then they're going to lose the match. That's just how these 2v2s usually go.
There was one thing I never noticed. Did the American player ever make any rifles? I don't see a barracks at his base.
He had a weapon support center start.
I think he would have benefited from rifles.
That's probably why he never had grenades.
I don't know, those MP44s came out really...
Yeah, that is true. Those MP44s would have just chewed through the rifleman like butter.
They were up at 6 minutes.
But then again, they needed some sort of anti-infantry to deal with all the Panzer Grenadiers. Because that was a major problem, and the British infantry just were not doing their job because the Commandos just were not as effective without their lieutenant.
Yeah, that's one big thing. You know how they say that Commandos are OP'd, but without an LT, they're just pretty much any other unit.
Well, that and that they're a lot more expensive.
Yeah, expensive. 560 per squad. Yeah, it's like, you know, when you consider that the Panzer Grenadiers, they're like 255 with a little munitions upgrade. Not much at all. So basically, easily.
Maybe if the airborne player had thrown his grenades.
Well, that's just it. He didn't have a barrack, so he couldn't make grenades.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was wondering why.
Sticky bombs might have also helped with the massive tanks that the German players had.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe this game would have been different if a couple of rifles were on the field.
Well, yeah, but it's like, but that would have probably taken a little bit more skill than he is, and I think, you know, like you guys are saying, TorenT was just not up to par with that. Well, definitely a good try by the Allies, but once again, they got beat again.
Ending game thoughts, Hellbox?
No, that's pretty much it. I think, once again, Germans did a nice job working together. Seph showing it how it's done, as usual. But even he needs some help sometimes. What are you going to say?
Oh, you guys can feel free to disagree with me, but if you guys had any thoughts on what might have been the unit or units of the game, I would personally pick the martyrs that Seph kept building, especially the early martyrs.
You know, I'd have to agree there. Those martyrs wreaked a lot of havoc on Allied armor.
I nominate the glider. Squishing things.
The glider, because it was able to crush so many freaking Germans. Well, anyways.
That's a trap!
Anyways, we need to wrap this up. So that's pretty much, yeah, that's it, folks. Seriously this time. I mean it. I know we've been gabbing on for an hour about this, I'm sure. But anyway. That's it, and the final VP score is Axis 134, Allies Zip. I know it says 2, but literally it's 0. Anyway, this has been OSC, wishing Seph further luck in his future games, as well as SayNoToStim, and hopefully, the Allied players, you'll review this replay and see what you need to work on. Anyway, say goodnight, fellas, 'cause we're out.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Yep, until next time.
Come on.
Till next time.
Come on, Nick. Everyone.
Oh, I said have a good night.
Oh, I thought I didn't get you. Well, anyways, we're out.